I'm going to go ahead and put this intro in, though.
Yeah, that's what I seen earlier. Yeah. I couldn't hear the audio that time up.
It's probably because I got my thing on mute. I didn't know I needed to be off mute. But I'm gonna play it again real quick, just so we can get the full effect.
Okay. Heard it loud and clear that time out.
John, all praises. All right, shalom, shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.
Let's see, man. We're just gonna go over a few little precepts. Quick study. This ain't gonna be too lengthy. Before I get started, I'm gonna go ahead and give all honor and all praises and all glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai. Today's lesson is going to be over exceeding the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees. There's a lot that goes into this lesson. Exceeding the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees. I did quite a bit of research, a little bit more than I thought I was going to do, to find out who the scribes and Pharisees were, specifically throughout the period of the Bible. We know the Pharisees were Levites. They were the teachers of the law, right? But in the Old Testament, let's get First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 42. First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 42.
Okay. This is First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 22.
Salakia, verse 1, 2, and 42. Salakia, First Maccabees 2, 42. Did you say that? Salakia. First Maccabees 2, chapter 2 and verse 42.
Oh, 42.
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay. 2 and 42.
Okay.
Okay, come. First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 42.
Mm-hmm.
I still got bad cough.
No, you're right.
Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians who were mighty of men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law.
So they were called Assyrians throughout the Maccabean era. And they were called Assyrians in the Maccabean era. They were mighty men of Israel, devout to the law. They were devoted to the law of the Most High. All right, let's get 2 Maccabees chapter 14 and verse 6. 2 Maccabees chapter 14 and verse 6. The Assyrians were devoted men, mighty men to the law.
This is Second Maccabees, chapter 14 and verse 6. Those of the Jews that he called Assyrians, whose captain is Judas Maccabeus, nourish war and are seditious, and will not let the rest be in peace.
John. So they were Jews. They said those Jews who called Assyrians, it says they nourished war and seditious and are seditious. So they loved war. They loved war and they were devoted to the law. So they loved war and they were devoted to the law. This was a good example. Like if you get the Jewish Encyclopedia, it gives a good understanding of how Levite, his character was. Levite's character was, when you read Genesis, how his sister, the sister Dinah, she was raped by the Canaanites, and how Levite, him and Simeon, they went and collectively, creatively had them get circumcised, and when they were circumcised, when they were sore from being circumcised, they killed all the men because of what they did to the sister, right? So the Levites were good at cutting their feelings from whoever they came across. They wasn't attached very well. They didn't get too attached to people. As a matter of fact, let me get another account that I'm thinking of. It's in Exodus. Give me just a second. Exodus. Let's get Exodus chapter. I think it's. Go to chapter 14. Exodus 14 and start at 14. And we're going to read down to no, that's not it. Exodus 32. Exodus 32 and 26. I believe that's what I want. Yeah, Exodus 32. Start at 25, I'm sure.
This is Exodus chapter 32 and verse 25.
Uh-huh.
And when Moses saw the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies.
So they were go ahead.
Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, Who is on the Lord's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him.
So all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together, right? Moses standing at the gate of the camp, saying, "Who will stand up on the and fight for the Lord?" And all the sons of Levi came. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor.
Go ahead.
And the children of Levi did according to the word of Moses, and there fell of the people that day about 3,000 men.
Right. So the Levites killed their brothers, they killed their cousins, they killed their family members. They were able to cut off their emotions and feelings at the drop of a hat. The Jewish Encyclopedia, which is a book that I do want to get, I heard it being read. It's something that Lord willing, I'll be able to actually afford to get. But they were able to cut off their emotions from their people and stand up for what was right for the Most High God. So these men, these Assyrians, these Pharisees were devout men to the law. They were devoted to the law, and they liked war. They loved war, right? So they loved to fight, and they were devoted to the law. Let's get Leviticus chapter 10 and verse 10, and we're going to read down to 11 to show some of the teachings a little bit of what the Levites, Salakia, were the Pharisees were supposed to do. This is what they were supposed to do.
Leviticus 10 and 10.
Uh,
This is Leviticus chapter 10 and verse 10. And that ye may put difference between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean, and that ye may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which the Lord hath spoken unto them by the hand of Moses.
So they were supposed to teach the children of Levi the law, statutes, and commandments. They were supposed to show a difference between what was holy and unholy, clean and unclean. That's what they were supposed to do, right? So the Levites were supposed to, the Pharisees were supposed, well, they were Levites at the time. They were supposed to show a difference between what was holy and unholy, clean and unclean. But today's day, you have a lot of church that do the opposite, which is what in Ezekiel 22, how the men that loved Baal, if I'm saying that right, they didn't show the difference between what was clean and unclean. They did the opposite of what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to teach the law, statutes, and commandments, show a clear distinction between what was holy and unholy, what was clean and unclean. But they didn't do that, right? That's something they didn't do. And it's something that it should be clear as day today. As much as Israelites out there on the streets teach, it should be clear as day to see the difference between what is clean and unclean and holy and unholy, and how the Christian church don't do that. Christian church don't put a difference between what's right and what's wrong, right? Everybody has their own feelings, their own emotions, their own thoughts behind what is right and what is clean and what is unclean, right? Everybody has their own thoughts and feelings because the Christian church don't do their job. They don't teach the Bible, okay? They don't teach the Bible. They don't teach the difference what was holy and unholy, clean and unclean, right? But the Pharisees being Assyrians in the Maccabean era, first the Levites, and then in the Maccabean era, they were Assyrians, and they loved war and they loved the law, right? And they were supposed to show the difference between what was clean and unclean. Gradually moving forward into the New Testament, the men became more wicked, right? The men became more wicked. And let's get Salakia. I hate to jump so much, but let's get Matthew chapter 23, and we can start at verse 1.
This is Matthew chapter 23 and verse 1. Then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not.
So this says those men that sit in Moses' seat, which is a high seat, highly respected seat, right? Moses set the bar high, a highly respected seat. Those men, those scribes and Pharisees that sit in Moses' seat, all therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do. So you're supposed to, if they tell you to do something, you're supposed to observe it, right? Once you observe it and it's right according to the law, you do it. It says, but do not ye what their works, after their works. Don't do what they are doing, right? Because they were hypocrites. Christ called them hypocrites a lot. And we're going to go into that. We're going to show that. It says, for they say and do not. They say and do not. So the Pharisees were about the law, and they told you about the law. They told you to keep the law, right? But Christ said, he said, do what they tell you to do, but don't do what their example is. Don't do after their works, right? Because they'll tell you to not eat pork, and then they'll go eat pork, or to not take blood money, but then they'll take it, or to not be traitors, or cruel, or showing no mercy, or lack of faith or compassion, and they'll do those things. They won't show mercy. They won't show faith. They won't show a compassion towards their people, right? So keep going though. Matthew 23:4.
Verse 4. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne.
So what they do?
For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne.
So they make it hard on the people. They made it hard on people, right? They made it hard on people to follow after the laws of the Most High, right? They made it burdensome. They made it something to where I don't want to do it, right? It's too hard. It's impossible to keep, right? That's what they would do. It says, for they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne. They were making it hard for the people, man, right? That's what the Pharisees were doing. But go ahead.
And lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers.
Man, hypocrites. They were hypocrites. The Pharisees and Sadducees were hypocrites, right? Go ahead.
But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments.
Right. So everything they did it to be seen by men, right? They didn't do it with joy. They didn't do it with a good heart. They didn't do it with a good conscience towards God. They did it for their own selfish greed, their own selfish desire. That's why they did it. They didn't do it because they were lovers of the law, right? They seen how they could get money. They seen how they can get over on their brothers and sisters. That's what they did it for. They did it to be seen, right? To sit in high places and to wear beautiful garments and stuff. That's why they did it, man. Right? So we want to exceed that righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, and he's going into it. But continue.
And love the uppermost rooms at feasts,
the
chief seats in the synagogues.
Come on.
And greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi.
So they loved those titles. They loved what they was getting. They loved to be seen by men. They loved that stature. They thought that they were somebody, and they loved it, right? They loved that, and that's not what they were supposed to do. They wasn't supposed to do that for the love of the money or to get over on the brothers, right? Let's get Matthew 5:20. Matthew 5:20. Shalom, shalom, family.
This is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 20.
Come on.
For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Right. So there's no way that you will enter into the kingdom of heaven if your righteousness does not exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees. Right? If you don't keep the faith, if you're not being brotherly, if you're not checking up on brothers, right? Seeing how they doing. If the only time you are brotherly is the Sabbath, you got some work to do. You should be brotherly and be connected to your brothers and sisters always, all throughout the week, right? A lot of times people talk to their boss at work and they do more than they can, right? Their brothers and sisters that they claim they love. Your righteousness has to exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, right? A lot of people desire to get out there and teach and they want to be seen by men, but they don't have the compassion. They don't have the love for actually teaching their people. And then sometimes you get people, brothers that have come in with that love, and then they'll lose it. They'll forget because of the fame and the attention that they get from it. They'll forget to actually serve the Most High God with joyfulness, right? They forget it, and they get the fame, they get the reputations, right? And now it's all about what they say and how they look, instead of actually doing the work, waking up the people, right? Kind of like the story of Absalom, right? David's son. Absalom, he would kiss like babies, you know what I'm saying? And he would get the love of the congregation, he would get the love of the people, but he had a very deceitful heart. He had a very deceitful heart, right? And you don't want to do that. You want to exceed that righteousness. Okay. Let's jump down to verse 23. I'm slacking. Let's go back to Matthew 23 and 23, Baba Kusha. Matthew 23 and 23. I'm jumping all around on this lesson, so Salakia. Ain't nothing in order.
This is Matthew chapter 23 and verse 23. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites.
He called them what?
Hypocrites.
So he was always calling them hypocrites. You're going to see that a lot. Go ahead.
For ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith.
So hold on. So they admitted, they left off, they kept off the weightier matters of the law, right? They would bring in tithes, the money. Yeah, you bring in money, yeah, because that's something that we're supposed to do. If the journey was too far for us to travel with our sheeps, our ox, our whatever that we grew, olive, and when it was too much for us, we would turn it into money, and then we would take it to the Levites, and then we would buy whatever we wanted there, and the money would go to the Levites. That's how it went, right? But it says, but they omitted the weightier matters of the law, the weightier matters of the law. So these things that is being read are in the law. This is what Christ spoke. These things that are being read were in the law, and we know Christ came to magnify the law. He came to bring the spirit behind the law and show that spirit. Okay, so the weightier matters behind the law. Can you read that for me again?
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin, and have omitted the weightier matters of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith.
John, keep going.
These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
Right, so you're not supposed to leave those things undone. You're not supposed to leave off mercy. You're not supposed to leave off judgment. And they were doing things to where if a brother was rich or he had fame, they would leave off from judging that man righteously. They would judge according to appearance, and that's not what we were supposed to do. They were judging according to appearance. You're not supposed to judge according to appearance, but you're supposed to judge righteous judgment. It's supposed to be a fair and just judgment, right? You're supposed to have mercy. You're supposed to have faith, right? Those men were supposed to show those things. They were supposed to teach what's clean and unclean, holy and unholy, right? If a brother's lacking faith, they were supposed to show a man how to get more faith, right? Build up their confidence. Okay. Keep going though. Let's get 24.
Verse 24. Ye blind guides, which strain at a gnat.
They strained at a gnat, man. He said they were blind guides, and they strained at a gnat. They strained at things that wasn't important, things that didn't matter, things that was something that wasn't going to necessarily keep them from getting into the kingdom, like the washing of hands. Yes, it was healthy, but that's not something that it should be focused on. That's not something you should stop the men from coming in and eating, right? If a man is hungry, go ahead and let him eat. That's not something that's going to keep him out of the kingdom because his hands are unclean, right? But what comes out of the mouth, what Christ said, That's what should be mainly looked at, right? But they were doing traditions of men. That's what they were doing, right? Go ahead. Read that for me again.
Verse 24, ye blind guides, which strain at a gnat
Uh-huh.
and swallow a camel.
Come on.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites!
Yeah, there you go again. Go ahead.
For ye make clean the outside of the cup and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess.
Right. So they would clean the outside of the cup, but the inside was filthy. It was dirty. They didn't clean the inside of the cup. How do you get the cup clean? How do you get the inside of the man clean? By keeping the laws, by being fair, by being just, by showing mercy, right? All these things are in the law. Having faith, right? They was cleaning the outside of the cup and the platter, but the inside of the cup was dirty, right? Verse 26.
Verse 26, thou blind Pharisee, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also.
Right.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites!
There you go again.
For ye are like unto witted sepulchres, which indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead men's bones and
Man.
all uncleanness.
And were all uncleanness. They were beautiful on the outside. Absalom was a beautiful man. People followed Absalom because of his outward appearance, right? People followed Christ not because of his outward appearance, but because of his knowledge and wisdom of the Bible. Not because of his outward appearance. People followed Absalom, which was a wicked man, because of his outward, because of how he looked, because he was kissing babies, right? So that's why people were following. And these scribes and Pharisees are the same way. They had beautiful outwardly appearance, man. But the inside was dirty. They were full of dead bones. It says full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. They were all unclean, right? They were keeping men out of the kingdom of heaven by nonsense, right? Silliness, right? Let's keep going.
Verse
28.
28. Even so, even so ye also outwardly appear righteous unto men,
Uh-huh.
but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity.
They were full of hypocrisy and iniquity. Hypocrites is you telling somebody to do one thing, but you turn around and do that you told somebody not to do. Like if you told somebody, just as simple as, bro, you're not supposed to be eating pork, but then you turn around and go buy a pepperoni pizza. Bro, you're not supposed to commit abomination. You're not supposed to commit adultery. And then you find a brother's wife, right? And you do something mischievous or sneaky, right? You got something, Mark?
Yeah, I was just I wanted to say something real fast. I had a brother the other day. He told me I was a religious fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him, I said, okay, well, what does religion mean? Give me the definition of religion. And he said, I don't know the definition of religion is.
Right. That's crazy.
He calls me a religious fanatic.
You don't even know the word of it.
Call me some. You don't even know what religion means. So,
right. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
I love the brother.
Hey, and that's what happens. Our people get caught up in Christianity and they become hypocrites. Right? They tell you that you shouldn't sin, but don't even know what sin is. So what are we doing? Who are we leaning on? Where am I supposed to get this information? From you? You're supposed to tell me what is good and bad. I'm supposed to now follow you, right? It's crazy. It's madness. It says hypocrisy and iniquity, which is filled with sins. They're sinful people, right? These men were appeared righteous unto men, but within ye are full of hypocrisy and iniquity, right? They looked righteous, but they weren't on the inside. What was the saying? You got to be. You don't want to be in the truth. You need the truth to be in you, And that's a good saying, and it's true. You want the truth to be in you. You want to walk as a good example to be a good example, man. Teach these laws and do them. As a matter of fact, let's jump up. What verse is it? Because Christ explains it. Matthew 23 and no. It's Matthew 5, Salakia. Go to Matthew 5, Abu Shah. Matthew 5 and verse 19. Matthew 5 and verse 19.
This is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
Okay, hold on. It says, whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men. So if you break one, or you break the least, and then you teach men so to turn away from the commandments, go ahead.
He shall be,
Go ahead. Yeah, that's it.
and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
Uh-huh.
But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called the great in the kingdom of heaven.
It says, whosoever shall do and teach. Do and teach. You cannot be a hypocrite, right? If you're keeping fringes, you need to teach them. You need to teach people and do them. If you're telling people they need to wear fringes, you need to be doing it yourself, right? That's a commandment. Everybody knows, right? That's a commandment. All y'all Israelites on the channel, Shalom family, y'all teaching these commandments. Y'all gotta be doing them, so that you're not like a hypocrite. You're not like a Pharisees, right? Pharisees will teach people, and they themselves won't do it. They'll look holy on the outside, but inwardly they were hypocrites, and they were iniquity. Is that what it said? Mm-hmm. Right. But you don't want to be a hypocrite. That's the bottom line. Being exceeding your righteousness as the scribes and Pharisees is being a hypocrite. Right. These men were lovers of the law, and they loved war. Right. That's a good combination. Right. Beautiful combination. But as time went on, they got into the New Testament. It began to get real shaky. Right. They became hypocrites. Right. I don't know where it really went off for them. But you see in the Maccabees era, they were lovers of the law. Right. It didn't talk about them in the Maccabees like that. They were lovers of the law, and they loved war. Right. But let me get back to it. Let's get 3 John chapter 1, and start at verse 9. 3 John chapter 1 and verse 9.
This is 3 John chapter 1 and verse 9.
Fine.
It says, I wrote unto the church, but Diotrephes.
Right. Diotrephes, he was like an elder, right, of the church. But go ahead.
Who loveth to have the preeminence among them, receiveth us not.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore, if I come, I will remember his deeds which he doeth, prating against us with malicious words.
So like it says, wherefore, if I come, I will remember his deeds which he doeth, with malicious words against us, with malicious words. So he was speaking ill towards his people, maliciously, malicious words, right? This is what Diotrephes was doing. And he said that those were, so like I haven't gotten to it yet. Go ahead.
And not content wherewith, neither doth he himself receive the brethren.
He didn't receive the brethren. He didn't see the brethren. He didn't love them. He talked about them. Bro, he was still in the world. Diotrephes was a man in the world, man. And he was an elder in the church. He was an elder in the church, and his actions was like he was in the world. That's not what you want. You don't want to do that. You should be changing coming into this truth. You got to be changing coming into the truth. You can't be who you were. You can't act like how you are. Your speech, your mannerism, your talk got to be changed. Man, hey, I listened to this one lady, and just based off of her following her feminine teachings, she had to change. She had to change for one because of a health issue. She had a health issue, and because she took on so much trying to be like a man, she was taking on so much trying to be like a man. She got lupus, right? That she took on so much, and she got lupus behind it, and so she had to stop trying to take on so much and work in her feminine energy and being just more feminine, right? And she goes into explaining how she talks softer around men because men respond better. She said that she talks like when she just wakes up, she talks real soft to men because men relate to women as with sex, and she says she gets heard more, how she talks more feminine, and she says she sits on the left side of her man, and there's a science behind that too. I just forgot it, but man, like she got far, and she's getting paid for just working in her feminine energy all the time, and she got it from staying away from the masculine energy. She says she only does that 20. She only operates in the masculine energy like 15 to 20% of her day because she has to make decisions on certain things, and for the most part, she don't do that, right? But there's a lot to learn, man, and wisdom is in everything. The Bible says, right? The Bible says wisdom is in everything, but you can't be. The point is, you can't still be operating in the world. You got to change when you come into this truth, and the Bible teaches you that. It teaches a man how to be a man, and it teaches a woman how to be a woman. It does, right? But let's get it. Verse 11.
Verse 11.
Can you finish verse 10 and then go to verse 11?
Yeah, I was going to say. And forbiddeth them that would, and casteth them out of the church.
Uh-huh.
Beloved, follow not that which is evil, but that which is good.
So it's telling you that what Diotrephes did, it was evil, right? Casting men out of the church, not being brotherly. What did he say? Malicious works, malicious words, right? He said, beloved, follow not that which is evil. So the examples that he gave previously, those were evil works, right? Continue.
He that doeth good is of God.
Mm-hmm.
But he that doeth evil hath not seen God.
Right. God. Simply put, let's go to John chapter 7 and verse 45. I don't have very many scriptures left. Like I said, it was going to be short. But just some of the things that I've seen, that I've learned about the Pharisees as far as where they come from and who they were at the beginning. We saw that they were Levites transitioning into the Maccabean era. They were called Assyrians, lovers of war, mighty men of Israel, and lovers of the law. And now they're seen in the New Testament as hypocrites and not exceeding the righteousness. We're supposed to exceed their righteousness, right? So this is a quick little intro. It's not not too deep. But what did I call?
John 7 and 35.
Let me get there with you, Salakia.
This is John 7 and verse 35. Then said the Jews.
Salakia, go ahead.
Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him?
Salakia. Is that First John or John?
Oh,
I need John. That's all right.
That's regular John. That's just John.
John 7 and 45.
John 7 and 45.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I had 35. Salakia.
That's
This
all right.
is 7 and 45. Then came the officers to the chief priests and Pharisees, and they said unto them, why have ye not brought him?
Come on.
The officers answered, Never man spake like this man.
Come on.
Then answered them the Pharisees, Are ye also deceived?
Mm-hmm.
Any of the rulers or the Pharisees believed on him?
Come on.
But this people who knoweth not the law are cursed.
Man, so the Pharisees was trying to take Christ, and like you see, it said like it says, where is it at? Dang. It says, have any of the rulers of the Pharisees believed? No, that's not it. It says, dang, where am I at? Where am I at? Then answered them the Pharisees, ye also deceive. Have any of rulers, so like have any of the rulers or of the Pharisees believed on him? Man, where am I? What am I missing? The point what I was trying to make was that there were still people there were so many people that believed in Christ that the Pharisees was trying to come against Christ, trying to show and take people away from Christ. They were trying to do things sneaky and underhanded to take Christ away because there was too many people believing on him. So they had to do something. They had to do something to take to take the fame away from Christ. His fame was becoming too big, right? So, and then it said at the end, it says, but this people who knew not the law are cursed. They didn't know the law, right? They didn't magnify the law. They didn't know the law. They didn't know the mercy, the judgment, the faith, the brotherly love, the brotherly kindness. They didn't know that it was in the law, right? In today's day, you have such a twist on things when it comes to the spirit, right? When you go into the church, they talk about the spirit of God and walking in the fruits of the spirit, that they leave out the law. So there's more perversion. There's more perversion behind it because they don't know the law and they're leading people astray, right? And it's sad. It's real sad because you still got people that are lovers of themselves because they're only loving, they're only following after the spirit ignorantly. They're following after the spirit ignorantly, right? They're not teaching the law. So they're unlawful people. Let's get Shalom Zion, Shalom Soldier. Let's get Zion, let me get you the whole John chapter 12 and verse 42 through 43. And one last thing I wanted to show the people before I got off of here, which is Deuteronomy. No. I'm gonna hold that for another time because Lord willing, I'll be able to do another part two of this lesson, just to show a little bit more in depth about the scribes and Pharisees, where they come from, what kind of because the court system in America is still like they took the court system from America out of the Bible, having witnesses, having juries, and things to that nature. They took a lot of the things that you've seen in the Bible and the court system and applied it to the court system they've seen in the Bible. They applied it to themselves. They applied it to America. You see that. But let's get that Matthew, Baba Kusha, I call Zion.
Salakia, John or Matthew?
Salakia, John 12 and 42. Salakia.
God, this is John chapter 12, verse 42. It says, nevertheless, among the chief rulers, also many believed on him. But because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him, lest they should be put out of the synagogue.
And that's what I wanted. And I put that right in the chat. The water, I put that right in the chat. The water. But read that for me again. Read verse 19. And then we can jump down to 42.
This is John chapter 12, verse 19. It says, the Pharisees therefore said among themselves, perceive ye how ye prevail nothing. Behold, the world is gone after him.
Gone. That's exactly right. And the world of Israel went after him, man, and they was the Jews were still believing, and his fame was growing more and more. And the Pharisees was, man, Christ was taking away the fame from them. He was taking away their attention, right? And those men, those Pharisees, was wicked because of their hypocrisy. The hypocrisy of the Pharisees was detrimental, man, to the whole nation. Christ had to come, man. Christ had to come and set things straight, right? But jump down to 42.
Verse 42, it says, this is John 12 and 42. Nevertheless, among the chief rulers, also many believed on him.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him, lest they should be put out of the synagogue.
Come on.
For they loved the praise of men more than the praise of God.
Read that again.
For they loved the praise of men more than the praise of God.
So this is what you do not want. You do not want to seek after the praise of men more than you do of God, after the praise of God. God's going to be able to give you way more than man can ever think to do, man. Right? So, man, Lord willing, Nazar, let me end it with Matthew 5 and 20. This is something that we got to do. You cannot be seeking after the praise of men, right? Don't get those fancy wardrobes just to get seen by men, and you're not doing the work. And you got to be doing the work. You're going to get judged off of that. You got to exceed the righteousness, man. Go ahead, Nazar.
Matthew 5 and verse 20.
Uh-huh.
For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
So you seen that the Pharisees had jealousy, they had hatred, they were hypocrites, they were covetous, man, and they loved the outward appearance, they loved the flashy clothes. The hypocrisy is so huge, man, because people seem to overlook that when it comes to being out there on the streets. They talk about y'all are Pharisees because you're dressed like the scriptures tell an Israelite they're supposed to dress, but then they don't understand that as an Israelite, you're supposed to be doers of the law. You're supposed to teach and do, like we read in Matthew 5 and 19. You're supposed to teach the law and do the law. You cannot be a hypocrite. You cannot teach the law and then not do the law, right? But Lord willing, y'all got some understanding. Y'all was edified a little bit based off of what I brought out. And just to get a little bit more understanding on the Pharisees, man, I know a lot of pure brothers do know a lot, but something that I didn't know, which was the Maccabean era and the court system. So I wanted to bring that out and then push a little bit more information on your righteousness, exceeding the righteousness on the scribes and Pharisees, of the scribes and Pharisees. It says you will not see the kingdom of heaven if your righteousness don't exceed theirs. So I encourage y'all brothers to get y'all's righteous game. Make sure y'all are not hypocrites on teaching. When y'all go to y'all's family members and y'all teach, you need to be walking. You need to be walking in what you are. You need to be practicing what you teach, right? You need to be practicing what you teach, man. So Lord willing, y'all got some understanding. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders that taught us the truth, and the water for the brothers and sisters out there teaching the truth. Honors to them too, man. So, hey, did y'all want to? Did y'all have anything that y'all wanted to add? I didn't even ask y'all.
Live.
So with that, man, I'm going to say shalom, shalom, family.
Shalom, barakatah, mashpakah.
Shalom.
Shalom.